Okay, welcome back to day two of Master Richards TV during COVID-19 quarantine. So you can see the image behind me. Our park and rec that we train at is closed. Let's see, I might be asked to leave because here comes the sheriff pulling up. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead with the video. So I've worked out a system here, I think, where we'll be able to see stances. So, Master Richards TV, and again, I'm going to give a shout out today to Coach Ron Mackey, air raid football high school coach out there in the Carolinas. Shout out to you, Coach Ron. I love your videos. Watch a lot of your air raid stuff. Turn me on to some good stuff by Coach Caduti. And he's doing a 30 for 30 during the COVID-19 quarantine, so he and some people in our organization have inspired me, so I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to hold myself accountable. We're going to go 30 for 30 as well. So this is day two. It's going to keep me on my task of keeping my tea hot by going 30 days in a row of posting something to Master Richards TV. Don't know what it's going to be from day to day. As you can see today, I'm outside at the rec center where we train. Could be some different environments. I'm not in a dobok today, but hopefully I've got some good content for you. So, here we go. Yesterday was how to breathe and the beginning of postures. Chariot was attention. Chunbi was ready posture. Anjose was proper seating posture. And so now we're going to get into some of the other jases, and bear with me on the camera work here. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Kima Jase, which is night on horseback or horse riding stance. So I'm going to back up here. Hopefully the audio doesn't go crazy because, again, we're doing this live with no editing and no retakes. So hopefully you can see my feet. My toes are straight ahead or, if possible, slightly in. I'm now going to drop my hips and push my knees out, back straight. This would be traditional Chinese double chambered. This would be Balbuki warm-up punch. Toes in, knees pushed out. You should feel some tension right here in the outer ankle muscle. If you don't feel anything, or right here in the thigh, then you're not doing any work. You're not in horse stance. You're in what I tell my students is hobby horse stance, where their feet are apart and they're comfortable. So you should be doing some work. Toes in, knees pushed out, back straight. Hand that's not working, chambered. Whatever the technique it is you're doing. And there's your horse riding stance for you, Kima Jase. All right, we're going to move right along. I'm going to take my feet from the Chumbi position. Hopefully you can see my feet. Shoulder width apart, toes straight ahead. And now I'm going to perform Chungul Jase, front posture. So I tell my students, think of everything's to the front. So I'm going to slide this foot back or step forward with the other foot, however you want to do it. 1.5 shoulder widths. You can make that mean whatever you want. That should be about right. All 10 toes are going to go to the front. That's going to lock my hip into the front. As a beginner, I say master and puppet. So whatever foot's in front, that's the puppet. The master is the hand. So that marionette hand would be over that puppet. Whatever the technique is that you're doing, front foot, front hand as a beginner. So if I step with my left, I'm going to do the action with my left. I step with my left, I'm going to do the action with my left. All right, so here I am in a left foot forward, Chungul Jase. Toes are bent, toes are pointed to the front, which forces my hips to turn to the front. Talking point we use in our school as well. If you look down at your big toenail on your front foot, if you can see it, you're not in front stance. So I'm going to take my knee, and I'm going to cover that big toenail up with my knee from my line of sight, and my knee should be bent the correct amount for front stance. For those of you that practice Tai Chi, Qigong, this would be your bow and arrow stance, where this bent front knee is your bow, and your locked out back leg is the arrow. So this is Chungul Jase. So, all 10 toes to the front, everything to the front, eyes to the front, chest to the front. So I'm going to show you what happens. And this is common. A lot of people do this to get more flexibility. They turn that back toe out. Now I've just opened up the hip. I've disengaged the lock. My hip is less stable. But more importantly, my center line of power is over here, right in the middle of my chest. So for any of those that study science, this is the cosine of my maximum power, which is always less than 1. There's my maximum power over there, wherever my back toe is facing. I turn that back toe in towards the camera. All 10 toes are going where I'm going. My hip locks in. I become more stable. So hopefully this will fit in the camera view, side view here. This is me looking at my big toenail. There I've covered it up. My lower leg should be perpendicular to the floor at this point. That's a good front stance. Okay, Chungul Jase. Now I'm going to take my feet and place them in a letter L. My back foot's going to go off in the direction of my chest. My front toes are going to face towards the action, what I'm defending, what I'm attacking, the front of the room, however you want to call it. I'm going to step out about a shoulder width with my letter L. Now what I like to think about, remember the large exercise ball we were sitting on for hug tree yesterday and standing? So I want you to sit back on that exercise ball over your back, leg, hip. So you're going to bend that knee as if you're sitting to the back on something. Now in our system, I don't know if you can see this, we'll try it from the side. Your front heel is going to come off the ground and the ball of your foot will just barely be touching the ground. Alright, so I should feel some work in here because I'm supporting my whole body weight with this thigh muscle. For me, this is where the hands go as a beginner. The front hand is in front of the eyes, the elbow is in line with the toes. The back hand is below the back eye in front of the solar plexus. We'll talk about that more when we get into striking later on in another video. That's where I want your hands as a beginner. This hand stays in the same position. This hand can go down here as the intermediate advance. This is a different just application for sparring. You're still in a position to protect. This is a good position to fire a back fist from. This hand can still do all the jobs it has, but as a beginner, I want you right here, just like so. All right, so Chungul Jase is back stance. I'm going to give you the side view. So again, I'm going to make my letter L. Shoulder width. Sit over my back heel. Front heel barely off the ground. Guards up, eyes on where I'm going. All right, so there's Chungul Jase, back stance or back posture. Here comes the sheriff, so I might be getting evicted here in just a minute. He just rode by behind me. Probably wondered what this crazy guy is doing standing in front of their building that's closed. So don't know how much longer this video is going to last. So we covered Kima Jase, Chungul Jase, and Chungul Jase in today's session. So I'm going to give you a little drill. Most of you that are traditional Korean martial artists know how to do Balputki warm-up punch, which would be just from Chumbi. 1, dropping the horse riding stance, push the knees out, punch. 2, each count you would change hands. Set, net, das, yas, ilga, yaro, aho, yo, kansu, paro. Okay, so most of you do that as part of your warm-up. So from here, I'm going to give you a little drill you can do that's going to incorporate Chungul Jase, Chungul Jase, Hadan Maki, low defense, Pande Churigi, reverse punch. So here it goes. I'm going to turn this way so you get a view. So I'm going to drop my weight to the back and do Chungul Hadan Maki, low defense, back stance. I'm going to fire my hip and do Pande Churigi, reverse punch, Chungul Jase. So now I'm going to shift my weight around. Back stance, fade back, front stance, drive forward. Back stance, fade back, front stance, drive forward. And of course, if you're practicing at home, do as many reps as you have time to. don't forget to do the other side. So that's just a little drill you can work on. Balbuki warm-up punches, low block, reverse punch drill, back stance to front stance. Work those stances. Try to get all the points we talked about. Being aware of where your center is, where your weight is. Transferring your center around moves your power around. And forgot to say this, hopefully you're breathing properly as you do that exercise. So as you execute the block or the strike, you should be doing that exhale that we worked on the first day. Compressing the abs, breathing out on the power stroke, just as if you were benching 250 or squatting 350 pounds. Thanks again for sharing with me. This is episode 2 of Master Richards TV. I'm broadcasting from Johnson Park Recreation Center where we normally train, and it's a beautiful day out here in Georgia, so I'm getting my vitamin D to help me combat coronavirus 19 and keeping my immune system strong. Keep training. Tang Soo.